indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Doylestown Township Board of Supervisors for October 18th, 2022. Before the start of tonight's regular meeting, the board met in budget work session. A lot of things were discussed and enough to put pen to paper, as I say. The budget is going to be created for and crafted for our next board meeting. To start, we have presentations. First, 30 years of trail video. And we should be seeing that on our screen momentarily.
Twenty 2022 marks the 30th year that the Doylestown Community Bike Hike Committee has been meeting, planning, designing, engineering, and implementing 30 miles of trails throughout the township. To date, the township, with the assistance of the Bike Hike Committee, has brought in $10 million in grant funds to help construct trail segments like Lower State Road, the trail at Pine Run, the trail along State Street,
Follow me.
the Neshaminy Greenway, and several more. In addition, segments of trail have been built when various developments were built, and some were constructed by the township. 30 years ago, it was only representatives from Doylestown Borough and Doylestown Township that met and planned out the trail system. Some of those original folk are still volunteering today. Since then, representatives from neighboring municipalities such as Buckingham, New Britain, and Warrington Townships, and the boroughs of Chalfont and New Britain meet with representatives of Doylestown Borough and Township to make sure trails in their municipalities link to the Doylestown Community Bike Hike Trail System. It's a fun, hard-working group that discusses not only trails, but wayfinding signage, trail art, electric bicycles, and much more. Feel free to stop by and join in a monthly meeting on the third Tuesday at 8 a.m. Congratulations to the Doylestown Community Bike Hike Committee for 30 years of dedicated service to the community and the contribution of building 30 miles of trails for our residents. Here's to 30 more years and 30 more miles of trail. For more information on the trails, go to www.doylestownpa.org.
Hello, everyone. The next item on the agenda is the presentation of the 2022 Unsung Hero Award. And I'd like to read to you the letter nominating this person for this award. I'm writing to you today to recommend that you award the Township's Unsung Hero Award and designation to Jean Lawston for her many contributions to the work of the Township and the community over the years. Dave and Jean Lawston joined the Telecommunications Advisory Board in 2015 with David as the official member and Jean as the member at large. Both were quite active in the beginning. Dave has stepped back recently, but Jean has gone on to be involved with many of the projects. Her contributions during this period have been wide-ranging, including camera work and voiceovers. And you just saw the 30 miles of trails, 30 years. That was Jean, if you didn't recognize her voice. But most importantly, she's utilized her professional editing skills and produced many township videos. She was the editor-in-chief and professional promotions producer at Fox 29 in Philadelphia for many years. I don't know if many people knew that. And after retiring, put those skills to work for the Doylestown Historical Society, Town and Country Players, among other entities. Jean has been deeply involved in many telecommunications advisory board projects, but came to prominence in such early efforts as the 2017 building video that covered the construction of the new Township building, and a collection of 2018 bicentennial event ads and celebration videos, and since then has done videos for boards and commissions. As we have every year, we see what the boards and commissions are doing through videos that Jean has put together. And she's also lent her expertise to compelling items such as the video reports and series on Doylestown health interviews on important medical topics. And in 2022, she topped all this off by being the lead videographer and editor for the recruiting video we just finished on behalf of the Doylestown Fire Company. And she's just finished, as you saw, the 30 miles for 30 years at Doylestown Trails. In all these efforts, Jean's creativity and adherence to high technical standards have been in the forefront of making the TAB video projects crisp and fresh. Last, Jean has cheerfully undertaken all these efforts with no desire for accolades or self-promotion. She's just done them because she enjoys the work and contributing to the team's success. So from Edge, he says, with my thanks for the many contributions that Jean has made over the years and her very tangible role in raising the professionalism of TAB video products, it's my distinct pleasure to nominate her to be the recipient of the Township's Unsung Hero Award, signed Ed Ebenbach, Chairman, Doylestown Township Telecommunications Advisory Board. Jean, we have something up here for you, and all your family should come up as well. Come on, family. Isn't it nice? Who are they? Who are they? And this is a beautiful plaque that somebody made for you. It says Doylestown Township 2022 Unsung Hero Award presented to Jean E. Lawson by the Doylestown Township Board of Supervisors on October 18th, 2022. Don't cry. Don't cry.
That I love doing.
I know. You want to hold this for your grandma? Why don't you? God, you don't look anything like your mom did. Nothing at all. I wouldn't recognize you anywhere. Why don't you go out front here? Oh. So members of the Bike and Hike Committee are here, and Telecommunications Advisory Committee, thank you for coming. And anybody else that I skipped? Friends? Friends are allowed up here. Ooh, let me get out of the way. Congratulations. Thank you. So all these videos, you think they're just like little videos. They go into our television communication network and also on our cable station. So these videos are seen far and wide, and they've done a great public service for many of our folks in Central Bucks and beyond. So long, Lawson family and friends. Thanks for coming. You're welcome.
That's a good crew. That's awesome.
Okay, the next item of presentation is Joe Salvati on Kids Castle.
Joe, I think you need to kind of move it out because we can only see part of it up on the screen.
This way?
Yeah, move it towards you.
Yeah, move it out. Maybe on the other side, that might work. There you go. Now you can see it. Thank you.
Okay, no video. This is just a brief. I'm Joe Salvati, volunteer and chairperson of the Friends of Kids Castle Committee. I'm here to give a brief update and to reconfirm that we continue to raise funds for the planned improvements at Kids Castle for all abilities. These planned improvements include a chosen assortment of freestanding sensory play panels that meet the needs of children with a variety of abilities so they can participate equally and independently at their own skill levels. These play panels will also provide opportunities for collaborative play so children can play together with each other if they choose. Additionally included in this planned improvement project is a large cantilever shade that will provide shade cover from the intense heat and UV sun protection for a seating area already created within the playground. Behind me, you will see some examples of the sensory panels that will be placed all around the interior fence line of Kids Castle. Children will have access to them no matter where the children are located within the playground. The fundraising goal for these items is $73,000. So far, we've raised approximately $37,000 toward this goal for these items. We're about halfway there and continue to advance forward. Our target date for the installation is spring 2023. Of course, reaching that target date will depend on a number of factors, but we're optimistic on achieving our goals. I should be back here in front of you again in March 2023, updating you about our accomplishments and our future goals. This concludes my brief update, and I thank you for your ongoing support of all our projects for the children at Kids Castle. You have any questions?
I do have one for you, Joe.
Yeah.
If you could help clarify for us, one of the things we've been going over in our budget meetings is when it's come up with the money set in the account for Kids Castle. Do you have so we can help make our planning and one of the things we discussed was putting security cameras in Kids Castle and that kind of thing. We had the question of, is there money in that account we can use for that? And then we've been having a discussion about like, well, some of that money has been set aside for various bits and pieces. Could you help clarify like what amount of how much of that is set aside for specific items versus how much of it might be able to be used to improve other items in Kids Castle that haven't been claimed yet?
So all the money that we have raised so far is for these particular items that I mentioned. Mm-hmm. And the total goal for all these items, including installation, is $73,000. So when we raise money, we first create a plan, and then we raise money for that plan, and we go to individual people to ask them to support the items that we have, and then they give us money based on those items. Mm-hmm. And then after we install them, we go back to them and say they're installed. We invite them down to the castle so they can come and take a look at it. So I guess the shorter answer to that is there's no money in there that hasn't been raised already for play pieces.
Okay, so it's any money is raised has been raised for specific purposes. Yes. Already purposes that have commitments to the people who donated the money.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So we have the play panels. They look amazing. And the shade cover, and as a parent that stood in the sun a lot at Kids Castle, like I know how desperately that's needed. Are those the last two major pieces that you have in your plan, in the plan for the Kids Castle, or are there other improvements that you're looking to do?
There are other improvements, but they would be something that I would discuss in 2023. It's dependent on getting an as-is engineer plan for Kids Castle. Usually after we complete a project, Dave does a plan to make sure where everything is located, and we know, based on those available areas, what we can do.
Is there some sort of a document that we can see that has like the ultimate plan for Kids Castle, so we know what the end?
Yeah, I think part of the plan has just recently been approved in the Central Park Master Plan.
So it's part of the master plan?
Yeah,
Okay, because I know the master plan doesn't always have things that we're definitely gonna get.
Right,
It's
right.
all like wish
Yes,
list types
yes.
of things.
yes.
But when it comes to Kids Castle, if we looked at the master plan, that's the vision currently
Yes.
that we're looking to do? Okay.
Yes, without getting into it fully, there are options there, and then we would have to work with the township to find out the feasibility of those options. And then, once we found that out, we would put a proposal together, present it to the supervisors for their approval, and move forward with that.
Because what I would like to do, what we do with a lot of things, is to just look at the whole project itself and see how much we're looking to spend in total. And I know it's better to do it piece by piece, because sometimes maybe the piece fits in this corner, it'll change your plan for the rest of the corner, so I know that there's adjustments that need to be made, but it would be good to be able to have the total vision and the total dollar amount that we're looking to spend before we finish the large parts of the project. Obviously, there's like maintenance and things like that we'll have to do in the future.
Yeah. Basically, this is kind of a rendering looking down at Kids Castle. And these are the two areas that were recently completed. And then these play panels will go around in various different areas where there's spaces for them. Right now, we have this area and this whole area with port in place.
Mm-hmm.
Presently, there's no port in place in this area here. There's engineered wood fiber. So there's some conversations that we need to have with the township in reference to planned improvements at the castle.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we get too tight with the port in place in here, then there wouldn't necessarily be room for heavy equipment to come in if needed to do some repairs on the castle. So I understand what you're saying. The projection right now is that $73,000 for this project. And then when Dave comes back from vacation, we're going to get that as-is plan. And probably for the next meeting when I come in March, I should have a larger number for you. Yeah.
A larger number.
Yeah.
Okay. And can you remind me, are there bricks still being sold? And
Yeah, the bricks are.
And the
we're
panels?
doing great with the bricks. We keep selling those.
how much are they, and where can people
Uh,
contribute?
They're $149.
Mm-hmm.
They're engraved, and you get 3 lines on the brick, and everything could be accessed right from our website, which is savekidscastle.org. So,
Jen, it's so easy, I'm doing it right now. I've been promising.
I have a credit
Joe
card
for
swipe.
months
I
that
can
I'm
come
going to do
over and
it.
take
Yeah.
your money now.
You came tonight.
Joe, thank you for all you've done, and you've certainly taken on a huge commitment to the township, and we all have enjoyed it. So much so that I think I've seen Warrington, I think, also has an all abilities park now as well. So when you talk about Jen's idea about the larger picture of things, do you look to see what they have versus what we have? I mean, for families who are really looking for an all abilities, it'd be nice to not duplicate, or maybe you need to duplicate, but do you look at that or work with them at all, or just, I know you're trying to identify things that are either A, attractive to any donors who want to be part of it, but also you obviously want to, you know what needs to be for enhancement. But I was just curious, because they also advertise their all abilities park, you know, how that ties into us, if at all. Maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, all these plans are sorted out by Karen, who has all the credentials for these things and keeps up with the industry in total. And we also consult, when I say we, the township, also consults with the playground professionals who have a broader scope of what's going on locally,
Great.
as well as all around. And pieces are never really selected for the donors. I know you probably didn't mean that, but they're...
No, I didn't mean that. Yeah,
Right.
thank you. Yeah.
But I wanted to be clear, you know, on that these pieces are selected for their ability to engage children along the developmental spectrum, you know, all children.
Right.
And they're not only selected individually, but they're selected strategically to go with everything else that we have. So, you know, there probably are things at other playgrounds, you know, maybe that we have,
Right.
but no one has the castle.
I also think, Joe, not, you know, regardless of if it's duplicative, you know, a lot of every playground should be for all abilities. So it doesn't really matter if the next playground has the same exact thing. You know, the way that we need to go nationwide is all of these playgrounds should have all of these things. And I think, you know, to Joe's credit, he's been an innovator in this approach in terms of the sensory stations and really looking at this from not only in all abilities, but at all ages, looking at, you know, if you sit down with Joe, and I've been the liaison for Kids Castle for many years now, and Joe is a one-man team, as you all know, that does it all, the fundraising, the planning, and, you know, the way, if you sat down and he kind of walked you through that Kids Castle and that playground tells a beautiful story about in any age or development of a child's life, they have a place to fit in that playground. So just, you know, kudos to you for how you've done that.
Well, I'd like to take credit.
And Karen.
Yeah, I'd like to take credit for it all, and it's really been a learning experience. But we do have people who help and guide us quite a bit, and you know, who would even know the word co-locating? You know, what's that mean? You know, and people know that they put these particular items in a proximity to each other because they know when children play, that's going to help them do cooperative play when they're kind of playing together and they don't even know that they're doing it. And there's just a whole science behind it. And I don't want to pretend to, you know, explain it to you in a technical way because I know it from layman's terms. So it's a great help to have Karen and to have all these other people, and I'm so happy that I've been able to retain some of it to do my part.
We are too, Joe. Thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you're
Okay?
doing.
And I'm always available if anybody has a question.
You got it.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Joe.
everybody.
Thank you.
Next presentation is from the Bike and Hike Committee. On screen.
My name is Lynn Goldman, and I'm the chairman of the Bike Hike Committee for Doylestown Borough and Doylestown Township. I want to thank the board for allowing me this honor of being the chairman of this committee. It's active, it's fluid, it's engaging. It's a wonderful committee, and I welcome you all to come and visit it sometime so that you get to see who these impressive people are. During COVID, residents needed to get outdoors. They discovered our 30 miles of trails. Neighbors who I've known forever and have talked about the trails system to finally recognized that there's trails in their backyard. During COVID, we also worked on the engineering design for Shady Retreat Road Trail. This trail is important because it will create the circle, which is always one of our first thoughts when we're designing these trails, that they will create a circuit for people to be able to enjoy. We worked with the Bucks County Planning Commission, Paul Gordon, on their trail along 611 and Alms House Road. That's an exciting trail that I'm going to be proud to be involved in. Think one day being able to ride over to TJ Maxx or the home store. We worked with Doylestown Borough promoting the pump track and the cycling events. Thank you very much to Liz Wycliffe, who has taken on that responsibility, as well as the guidance of the board. If you get a minute, take yourselves for a walk through the woods by the pump track by Fanny Chapman, and also discover that the Boy Scouts have built sort of a playground for bikes where you ride up and down some of these wooden structures and challenge yourself to ride. I don't think this would be something I'd recommend to everyone, but it would be a fun thing to see. We worked on developing a new interactive map. This is something that we're hoping people will be able to use on their phones as they're riding our trails or walking our trails. So it's a nice feature that we're going to be able to offer. We've had collaboration with the Bucks County Planning Commission and talked to them about a design for the Dark Hollow Trail, which is an absolutely gorgeous piece of property, and I, again, would like to say to you, please get out and enjoy that. It's a special part of this area. We have collaboration with the Bucks County Planning Commission for several of our parks and trail systems, and they're giving us great leadership on some of our trail systems. Collaboration with the Township's Telecommunication Advisory Board is part of this, where we're creating videos of our trail segments throughout the township and borough. There is a couple of bad actors, or actually one bad actor on one of the videos, so I already ask your forgiveness. Shh. These are the secret alleyways that are getting us through the borough. Pay attention for signs. They're not always obvious, but you and I know where they are. Follow me. The township received a Dced grant for New Britain Road Trail. This trail is going to again offer one more circular trail, a connection to the other trails that will greatly enhance what your residents will be able to experience. The township has a pending TSA grant for Shady Retreat Road Trails. I know you will definitely have residents who are thrilled that this is being accomplished. And I think this will be something that we're starting in the fall, and you'll be able to see your township money at work. In 2022, we're going to be reviewing and developing criteria for e-bikes, and we're coming up with how we can make this as safe as possible for people to enjoy the parks and still deal with vehicles that at this point, some of them go 30 miles an hour. So we are considering safety, and we've talked to the police department. They generously gave their time so that we can have a consistent set of rules that will work in the borough and the township, and also with Chalfont, New Britain, and other townships that enjoy our trail system. We continue working with the BCPC and neighbors on trail expansion, always thinking about little neighborhood trails. We accept recommendations that you can help us. We will be trying to work on Turk Road to extend the Turk Road Trail a touch to be able to get into the Pebble Woods development. We continue to work with TAB on more videos. Thank you, Ed. He's always available. Gene Lawston and others, that they generously give of their time to make sure that we look good on these videos and also get the message across that we're trying to do. We are promoting legacy benches always. That's the extra money. That is the only money that we use that we ask for donations. So There's plenty of trail, plenty of need for benches. We work with the Park and Recreation Board on a park master plan, which I'm sure you're all aware of. And we want to make sure that we work with them and coordinate our efforts so that we can have the best parks possible. Again, I want to thank you all for allowing me to take on this awesome responsibility. I take it very seriously and want only the best for our township and borough.
You need to take the microphone, or Ed will come out back there and yell at us.
Well, I didn't know I was going to speak. I actually did come for Jean Lawson tonight, but since I was here and I knew my film was next, it's difficult to look at yourself on camera, so I thought I better at least look like I'm a little more sane in person, but maybe with this outfit, that's not working either. But do you have any questions you'd like to ask or anything that you'd like to talk about with our bike hike development going on? It was a difficult year with COVID, as we all know, and unfortunately for the Shady Retreat path, which I didn't know I did that so much. I saw in the movie I stop and do a tick like that, which I didn't realize I did. So I'll have to correct that for the next time I'm in front of you. But the Shady Retreat Road is going to be a really important piece for the hospital as well because it circles that area, Del Val College. It hits the high school, it hits the elementary school. It's a really important piece of trail at Colonial Park. A lot of residents will be involved with that, and I really appreciate that you were able to generously help us again build that extra piece that happened with the delay of COVID. So thank you very much. Any other questions? Anybody looking for anything to do on a Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock once a month? We're there, and we'll welcome you to our committee. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you.
And always thank Tom Kelso.
Yeah.
Because without him, our board would be nothing. So I see him there. So thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. All right, next one is the Public Water and Sewer Advisory Board. This is always riveting. Very moving.
I'm Joe Van Houten, Chairman of the Doylestown Township Public Water Sewer Advisory Board, along with my fellow board members, Bob Schaefer, Jenny Kimball, John Canterbury, Wally Pattison, and Robert Repko. We serve on behalf of the Board of Supervisors with the directive to determine if there is an actual need anywhere within the township with regards to the installation of public water and public sewer. One of our most recent projects is finally coming to fruition, and that's the Pebble Ridge Woodridge part of the township. That project was years in the making, and also years, as everybody who lives in that neighborhood knows, years in actually coming to completion. As of today, I've been advised that almost half the residents within that neighborhood have already hooked up to the public sewer system, and the Doylestown Township Municipal Authority also laid public water throughout certain sections of that community, and residents have also been hooking up to the public water system. Our board is working on several projects that with the goal of establishing a long-term plan for the remaining sections of Doylestown Township that are not currently serviced by public sewers. In doing so, our goal is to make it so that residents will be provided clarity, allowing for repair and replacement decisions in line with the long-term plans of Doylestown Township. To that end, our team will be presenting an updated 537 plan to the Board of Supervisors in the coming months. The Pennsylvania Sewage Facilities Act, which is Act 537, was established back in January of 1966 and was enacted to address existing sewage disposal problems and to prevent future problems throughout the Commonwealth. To meet those objectives, Act 537 requires proper planning of sewage facilities and permitting of individual and community on-lot disposal systems. It's basically your septic system that you have at your private residence. Though largely administered by the individual municipalities and local agencies, including the county health department, it's also comes down to the responsibility of our board to work with our local providers and their engineers to update the 537 plan. And our team has been working on that diligently for the last several years, doing a lot of research with the information available through the Board of Health and also through the Township in determining areas of future needs for public sewer. Once we present that plan to the Board of Supervisors, upon their approval, there'll be a public comment section that we'll be going through before presenting it to the state. In addition to that, some of the other accomplishments that our team has done this year, public water and private well water is also a topic of our committee. And within the last year, we created an educational piece that's available on the Township website for those that have private wells here in Doylestown Township. It's a great piece if you're not familiar with how to maintain your well properly, and also things to look for in testing to keep your private well water safe. If any of the residents out there watching this presentation are interested, our committee meets the third Thursday of every month at 5 o'clock here in the Township building. I believe we may have an opening at the current moment on our board for anybody that may be interested in the two most important things that most people don't give a lot of thought to every day, and that's the water coming into your house and the water also leaving your house. And that concludes my presentation for this evening.
Thanks, Joe. Joe's here. Anybody have any questions?
Do away with a lot of what's on this piece of paper here. Does anybody have any questions with regards to the Public Water Sewer Advisory Committee?
Don't talk until you get to the microphone. Thank you. I'm telling you, Ed he's gruesome.
So this was a good segue into what we're here for tonight with regards to the 537 plan. As you heard in the presentation, our committee is charged with determining if there's a need in the township with regard to public sewers. And following our work on the Pebble Ridge, Woodridge project, the committee proceeded to use the same process to evaluate other areas within the township to determine a need. And basically, we look at pumper hauler reports. There are stormwater outflow reports with regards to fecal coliform, health department records, and also permits for on-lot septic repairs. We've identified 2 additional areas with evidence of malfunctioning on-lot systems. We've designated those as Phase 2 and Phase 3 within the project. In order to avoid the decades-long process experienced by residents of the Pebble Ridge Woodridge area, the Public Water Sewer Advisory Committee worked with Bucks County Water and Sewer, along with Carroll Engineering, to update the township's 537 plan. And as you heard, it's the requirement of the Pennsylvania Sewage Facilities Act of 537 requires municipalities to identify existing problems and to implement sewage facility planning to correct and prevent those problems with all public and private sewage facilities. So this is really a roadmap to the future, so that residents, it's going to help residents plan and make decisions regarding the maintenance of their on-lot systems going forward. And our committee recommends that the Board of Supervisors move forward and vote to adopt the 537 plan that we've presented. There's our representatives here tonight from Carroll Engineering. If you have some really specific questions with regards to the 537 plan, we did present it to the supervisors so that you had time to review it before the meeting this evening. So I leave it to the guys, the experts, to dot I's and cross the T's and answer a lot of the details. But if you have any other questions at this point, please ask them.
Joe, I think it would be great for Steve to kind of lay out the document for the Board of Supervisors, as well as the steps that are required as part of adopting a 537 plan. I don't think the board's probably ready to adopt it tonight, but I think they need to know what the next steps are. And I know it's in the plan, but I think it's good for everyone to understand that.
Good.
Mr. Hartman?
Okay, thank you for having me. Steve Hartman, Carroll Engineering. We were instructed by Bucks County Water and Sewer Authority, as Joe said, to put this 537 plan update together. It was last updated in 1999, so it was something that was due and coming. Just generally speaking, the document is required by DEP to ensure the orderly expansion of sanitary sewer systems, taking into account failing on-lot systems or proposed development, items like that. So essentially, what's driving this update is on-lot systems, existing dwellings with on-lot systems, to have them connected to public sewer. I don't know if we have the map that can be put up.
Don't think we do.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, I'll just generally describe. The map was broken up into 3 different categories: properties that were proposed to connect within 5 years, within 10 years, and then essentially ultimate, out to, the end of everything being developed that's not protected lands for institutional or open space. So the 5-year were a few projects that were identified, or areas, I should say. I don't know if I would get into specifics here. I can certainly do if you want me to. But there were a few areas, and there were also a few developments that were known to be in the works based on these reports called Chapter 94 reports. So they're shown as the 5-year connections as well. The 10-year is essentially one specific area, the Phase 2 drainage area. That was basically the target of the Sewer Advisory Board's studies for the past several years. And again, that was shown in the connecting in the 10-year phase, but it could be year 6. It's not defined that way, but we essentially want to let DEP know that that area is a target for public sewer. And again, I can get into specifics if anyone has questions, but essentially I could jump right to the phasing of how all this would work. If and when everyone is good with the 537 plan as it is presented, you would go to a public notification process. So you advertise that for 30 days where anyone could come in and view the report, or even post it online on your website, and they could download and see the report in that fashion. We would also, at that point, send it to the Planning Commission, the Township Planning Commission, the County Planning Commission, and the Health Department. They would all review that plan and have to basically okay it before the next step. And the next step then would be the Township having a resolution to adopt the plan. And then it gets submitted to the Department of Environmental Protection. So there are phases there that are spread out. Could take several months, that whole process I just laid out.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? Well, I think we all received it in one form or another.
Yes. You received it. You received it under separate cover a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions? You good? Joe, you good? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming, Mr. Hartman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, for coming.
I do have one thing I just want to add to that real quick. The 537 plan is a roadmap for us. It is not what we are 100% going to do. So I want to remind residents as they review it that this is if we could do everything we wanted, this is the roadmap to get us there. But everything as far as putting new sewers in still has to be discussed, still has to be voted on. There's a lot of steps before we get down to the point of doing sewers in your neighborhood.
Okay, thanks. Okay, good.
Thanks.
Thank you. On to the next presentation. MKSD is standing by to log on and give us their report.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. 1 second. Everyone see the screen?
Yes, Ryan.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Ryan Kennedy, and I'm the Senior Project Manager with MKSD for the Community Center Project. I have here with me James Hayes, who's an Assistant Principal at the Stonehouse Group. To provide some background on the solar feasibility study, back in May, the Stonehouse Group provided a solar feasibility report that outlined 4 options for solar arrays on the new community center and on the adjacent buildings. In July, we presented these and the board voted to proceed with one of the options, which consisted of putting solar panels on the new community center, the existing public works building, and the 2 adjacent structures known as the water department building and the L building. And we would also provide a solar canopy in addition to that. Our first step in determining the viability of installing solar panels on the existing buildings was to have a structural engineer, slate structural engineer, perform an analysis of the existing structures. The structural engineer performed their analysis and determined that the public works building could support solar panels if additional reinforcement was added to it. It was also determined that the 2 adjacent structures could not hold the additional weight of the solar panels, and it would not be feasible to reinforce structures based on the existing construction. Therefore, after this was determined, the Stonehouse Group recommended to add an additional solar canopy to the option to compensate for the solar panels that would not be able to be installed in the water department building and the L building. So here's a chart that shows the public works building, its solar potential, and the structural capacity. So that would be able to be a viable option. The water department and the L building, which we're calling here a storage building, is no longer viable. And then this Parks and Rec building, which is a new community center, would be able to be used. And we provide 2 solar canopies. So in July, it was estimated that the solar potential for the site would be 456 kilowatts. And now, with the information that we know, it would be 405 kilowatts. Now, James will go into more detail regarding the revised solar scenario.
Thank you, Ryan. The satellite image on the left shows the additional 77 kW canopy structure that replaces some of the solar capacity that is not able to be installed on the roof. So you can see where the 405 kW of solar is distributed between the parking canopies and the roofs. The chart down below shows monthly solar production by month. In total, the solar arrays would produce more electricity than the new proposed Parks and Recreation Community Center consumes in a year, and would provide some power virtually to the administration building. The 405 kW solar arrays would reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 176 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent per year. And because we're shifting some of the solar installation from being mounted on the roof, which is less expensive, to being a parking canopy, we believe that the power purchase agreement rate, the solar PPA rate, will likely be between 11.75 cents and 15.25 cents per kilowatt hour. In our original study in May, the rates were around 8 cents, between 8 to 13.5 cents. So this slide shows electric consumption by building. On the left-hand side, the administration building, 310 kilowatt hours per year, Parks and Rec Community Center estimated at 450. And on the right, you can see solar consumption, and electric grid consumption, showing that the Parks and Rec Community Center could be a net zero electric consumer, and the solar arrays would provide 20% of the electricity required for the administration building. As we've shown on previous slides, we believe that a reasonable range for PPA rates is between 11.75 cents and 15.25 cents per kilowatt hour. We went out to the market and talked to solar developers and described to them the solar installations, whether they're on the roof or canopy system, and the size of those systems, and they provided these indicative pricing rates back to us. Since we had last met, the township has secured in a new electric supply contract that is right around 8 cents per kilowatt hour. So the combination of a more expensive installation with parking canopies and a very advantageous electric supply contract results in an added cost for solar based on our projections. So on the low range, we're showing year one savings is actually a $15,000 increase in cost. And on the high side, that could be a $33,000 increase in cost. Then we're also showing 25-year total cost addition and 25-year present value cost addition for having solar based on these updated projections. So here's a brief summary. Again, the township's currently paying 8.31 cents per kilowatt hour for electric and just over $9 per kW for peak demand. We believe that PPA rates would be higher than the current electric rate. So that would increase the township's electric costs by installing solar.
This is a list of all the steps in sequence needed to design and construct the solar array. On the right-hand side, you'll see each step's associated time duration and professional fees associated with those. We are complete with the first step, which is a structural analysis of the Public Works building. If the board decides to move forward, the next steps would be to design the structural reinforcing for the existing water department building and the L building. I'm sorry, that's not correct. Design the structural reinforcement for the Public Works building. Design the electrical documents for the Public Works building to support the solar. Develop, issue, and receive the RFP, RFQ for the solar providers. Analyze the solar proposals, and lastly, identify the solar partner. The schedule implications are these tasks will take approximately 14 weeks. The first two, the structural design and electrical scoping documents, can run concurrently. Otherwise, the rest of the steps would be sequential. And in total, the professional fees would total $42,400. Alternatively, if the township decides to hold off on the solar panel installation, the new community center can be constructed as solar ready. What this means is the roof can be designed to support future solar panels, and we could provide pathway to link the solar future panels to the electrical room. That concludes our presentation. Are there any questions?
Questions?
Yeah, I have one regarding the power purchase agreement. Since our current contract for electricity runs through until 2027, how long is the contract typically for PPA? Is that for the entire 25-year period, or is that a shorter period?
PPAs typically range between 15 and 25 years. Our analysis showed a 25-year analysis. With a longer PPA term, the starting rate usually gets lower. And with a shorter PPA term, the starting rate usually is a little bit higher. So those are options that could be requested in an RFP. You could ask for starting rates with a 15-year term or a 25-year term to provide pricing options.
Other questions from anyone?
So at the end of the 25 years, do we break even through all of these contracts and the investment we put in? That's really, for me, the bottom line. I want to be environmentally friendly, but I'm trying to understand the dollar, yeah.
Right. So after 25 years, we're showing a cost increase for electricity that ranges between $280,000 and $890,000. And in present value dollars, that's $180,000 to $500,000 increase in electric costs.
Thoughts?
Much to deliberate on or think about.
Ryan, what would, oh, sorry, you have a hand.
Oh, just 1 second, go ahead.
I was just going to ask Ryan, what, as the consultant and architect for the township, what's your thoughts and recommendations at this time? Because I know this is disappointing news for us.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, this isn't a very attractive option right now, and you locked into incredible electrical rates. So, I mean, that's a good aspect of it, but financially, this doesn't make any sense to proceed.
But you could have, as you indicated, you could have the building solar ready for the future.
Correct. So
Okay.
your current electrical lock-in rate expires, I believe, in 25, 24,
27.
27.
27. Yeah, so after that amount of time, you can re-examine if this makes sense or not.
And Ryan, what is, if you know, you might have said this, what is the get ready rate? Or what would we have to do to get ready, and how much would that cost, if you know?
That's a good question. I did run the numbers on the additional reinforcing to the community center, and I think I don't want to misquote, but it was between like $70,000 and $80,000 extra. And then the conduit pathway is not much.
Okay. Thanks, Ryan. Other questions?
You had a question from the audience.
You have a question?
Hi, Peter Cox, and this is actually an industry that I work in around the world. So I have a couple of questions, sir. What is the life cycle timeline currently anticipated on a failure rate on your solar panels, particularly given that we are north of the Mason-Dixon line where sleet, hail, and ice is of a particular problem for solar panels?
Right. Thank you, Peter. That's a good question. We would recommend if the township were to move forward, it would be through a power purchase agreement where a solar developer is responsible for construction of the array and ongoing operations of the array, ongoing operations and maintenance of the array, and the township would be responsible for purchasing electricity produced by the solar arrays. So the township would only purchase what's produced, and if panels went down because of sleet damage or because of a panel failure, that would be the responsibility of the solar provider to replace that panel.
Okay, that's going to get very expensive, particularly given that the majority of the lithium that goes in those panels is currently coming from China. Is there an alternative source of the panels other than Chinese manufacture?
There's a company called Canadian Solar that makes tier 1 solar panels.
Did you say
but again,
Canadian Solar?
That's correct, but again,
Okay.
that would not be the township's responsibility to replace those panels. The township would lock into a predetermined rate at a predetermined term, which could be 15 to 25 years, and the solar developer, the solar provider, would be responsible for replacing any panels that are damaged.
Okay, what's the total number of panels that your array is going to incorporate?
I could look that up. That would take me a second.
The reason I ask is any significant damage from a storm, how does the panel provider replace the missing electricity that those panels are no longer providing?
The electricity that is not produced by solar would be purchased from the grid.
At the same price that we're getting it from the panels?
No, those rates could be different. So we heard that the township just locked into a new electric supply contract. So that rate is variable based on market conditions, and the solar PPA rate would be predetermined as a contract's negotiated.
How long is that locked-in panel or the power rate for the township?
Till 2027.
2027. So we're looking at 5 years. What's the total life cycle on the solar panels?
So we'd recommend, that hasn't been written into the RFP yet. If an RFP is issued, we'd recommend that the solar arrays have a guaranteed performance requirement for each year of production. And we'd recommend a tier 1 panel be used. And typically tier 1 panels have a 25-year warranty to produce at least 80% of their rated power.
Okay. The reason I ask is there's a little bit of concern in my mind. We built 7 solar fields down in South Africa, each one with 24,000 panels. The newest one is 2 years old, and we're already starting to experience between 5 and 10% failure on the panels. I'm not sure the township can afford the fluctuations in power if we go into having a solar array currently, given the cost to manufacture and the somewhat unreliable nature of most of the manufactured solar panels in the world. I would just strongly recommend that before you commit to it, you do some serious consideration and possibly get a disinterested third party to give you a recommendation.
Anybody else have any questions?
No.
Ryan, I think we're going to have to pass on this tonight and consider it at a, I don't know if that we're ready to move on this tonight. Thoughts?
Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know where
We were
I'm
hoping to
leaning.
be like
I'd like some time.
economically neutral, not, plus $1 million.
Right. I mean, I think the discussion that comes up, and I don't think we make a decision tonight, but I think the discussion that comes up is, do we want to be solar panel ready?
I think that is, I mean, in my opinion, if we don't go forward with this, which I can't imagine we would. I mean, honestly, I know I've always, whenever I talk about things, I'm always talking about the environment and my interest in it and how everything that we do needs to focus on that at this point. But you can't do that at this kind of cost and be fiscally responsible at the same time. And if we have that energy deal locked in, I mean, our team, our staff has done amazing work to get us that rate. And so
We're thinking maybe we'll fit it out, but not hook it up.
that's what I'm thinking, is we can fit it out. And also, if we're ready for it, there might be more opportunity, and correct me if I'm wrong, Steph, for grant opportunities and things of that nature where it might reduce the overall cost if we can get that type of funding as well. So,
Right. And I think the other thing is, because I asked Stacy when I saw this come through, was, is it possible that when the building is built that they would take on the company that we got the 8 cents from, would they also maybe cover the other building? And we will certainly pursue that as well.
Great.
Okay, so consensus is to do the fit out?
Do the fit out.
Yeah, I agree with the fit out.
Yeah, that's where I'm
You
leaning.
hearing us, Ryan?
I am, yes.
Oh, okay, so I think you got your marching orders. We're going to pass on the rest of the solar panel installation and construction at this point. See what happens.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
your presentation, Ryan.
Thank
And
you.
all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
you're welcome.
Bye, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Public comment on agenda items only. Hearing none, moving on. Announcements. Okay, we're next meeting on November 15th.
Oh, there is a comment.
Oh, sorry, sir. Whoops. Come on up.
Hi, so I'm not quite sure, but I put my big boy pants on, like you told the people of Woodridge and Pebble Ridge during the sewer meeting. I don't know if people are aware, but on March 18th, I was issued a lien placed on my property for delinquent taxes. This is an ongoing issue with the people of Doylestown Township that they're getting falsely liened on, and no one's doing anything about it. On March 18th, I showed proof that I paid this, and nothing was done. And by September 12th, I finally received money. But I was just wondering, is there anything you guys are doing to make sure that you're notifying the people of Doylestown that they are falsely getting lien put on their properties and they're paying extra money monthly?
All right, what is your name, sir?
Matt O'Brien.
You wrote to us.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome. Do you want to speak to that, Jen?
I can speak to that. So what had happened was there was an issue with our tax collector in Doylestown Township. It affected many of our homeowners, and we became aware of it as a township. Because of that, there was work between the county and the township to audit this tax collector. This had happened after the liens had been filed with the township. So people did get lien notices. And after the audit, there had been a lot of cleanup. There was a lot of work done at the county. So there were some liens that were done incorrectly. We feel like, well, I won't speak for the township or the county at this point, but after all of that work is done, there has been, the lien list is I believe, the opinion of the county is that the lien list is accurate at this point after the audit was performed. But of course, there's ongoing work being done. Now, what I believe Mr. O'Brien's main concern was, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that there was a communication concern with the residents of Doylestown. One of the communication issues, I believe, was, I don't want to speak on your particular, because I don't want to divulge anything, but so when you get your tax bill, you get a school tax bill and you get a county municipal tax bill. The county and municipal tax bills have been reconciled and have been made, they appear to be accurate at this point. So I don't think that there is an issue with people being improperly liened at this point. Unfortunately, that did.
But you still, you don't know that though. Because like me, are you notifying those people of the false tax? So how do you know that they're being falsely liened now?
So just in general, when an audit gets performed, and I don't know, maybe you received a letter like this, but oftentimes auditors will send out something called confirmation, audit confirmation. So the county had confirmed at a certain point, the liened items, the lien properties. And so that would give people the opportunity to determine whether their lien was inaccurate or not, and then get back to whatever taxing authority that they felt was improperly liened. But of course, that is just county and township. I can't speak on school.
Right, so how long is it taking people to get their money back? So for me, March and I still haven't gotten my money back. You guys finally sent it to my mortgage company, but that's March of 2022. So for 6 months, I've been paying an extra $444. And I just want to know what you guys are doing now to rectify it. You guys now know that Samuel.
Tax collector.
Well, that is an independently elected
Yes,
position,
yep.
the tax collector, and so they are responsible for collecting the taxes. If that tax collector fails to do that, then they will either be voted out of office or otherwise handled, but they are separate from us.
Let me just interject by, first of all, I think, accountability lies with us. I mean, as soon as we found out that the tax collector was, listen,
He owed us
screwed
money.
up. He didn't do his job. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the bottom line, and we fully accept that, and I understand your frustrations.
But-
I will say, we're doing everything in our power. By the time it had gotten to us, it was at the county level, so it was a little bit hard for us to go back. So I don't want you to think that we were just like the tax collector messed up and hopefully people figure it out.
That's great, but you guys aren't notifying any of this.
We wouldn't necessarily know who they are.
But you just said everything's good on the lien aspect of it.
Well, let me explain. Once the tax collector certifies their unpaid taxes, the township has no further authority. It goes to the Bucks County Tax Claim Bureau.
Yep.
And with respect to this, the county folks and the township folks, Jen primarily started going through his records.
Yep.
And doing all kinds to find the mistakes, find out what he didn't do or did do. So it takes a while to go through all the parcels because you also have school taxes involved and county taxes. So this board and the township did everything it could do while it had jurisdiction over it.
Right, so is there anything done in place to hold, now Sarah Tomlinson's now the new person, is there now that we knew Mr. Colati, it could have been going on for a couple months, previously a long time, is there anything in place that you guys are doing to protect people like me so that this doesn't happen again? Like, are you doing more audits? Are you doing regularly audits? Or is he sending you detailed documentation?
So that would be, I believe, at this point, for tax year 2021 and prior, that would be a question for the county.
Okay.
Because the tax collector will collect for the current year.
Yep.
And once the current year is over, then it goes to the county. So that would be a question for the county, what the county's doing with those 2021 and earlier.
Okay.
Do we still have anything on our website, just for people to know that maybe there was an issue, if they have a question,
No.
sort of where to direct them as well? Because I think it sounds like part of your frustration is just knowing who's accountable.
My frustration is March 18th, I got a notice in the mail that there was a lien placed on my property.
Right.
So I called the tax claim people. They gave me no information. No one gave me information. So then I had to call, I'm thinking March of 18, I had to figure out Mr. Colati, who still answers the phone, who causes more confusion for everyone else. April wasn't resolved. May it wasn't resolved. June it wasn't resolved. July it wasn't resolved. July 12th, I finally got an email from Central Bucks, who then I had to prove to them that I paid it myself. This is me calling them, me calling Jennifer. I knew her number by heart. Me calling all these people to get my money because I'm paying an extra $444 a month.
That's
for
a
something
hardship,
that I didn't
absolutely.
do. I have 2 newborns. My wife works, and due to this tough economy, but it felt like you guys, and being general here, but nothing was notified. Hey, if you think this lien is falsely, mail something out. You guys said you posted something on Facebook. Well, I don't have social media, so I think you guys should have mailed something out to all the people placed on a lien, just to be the grandparents of people or the people that just paid it.
We
They could be
wouldn't,
making
we
duplicate
wouldn't
payments.
know who those people are that were
No,
liens.
you do, because you have a liens list. So
Well,
you could have
we
sent
did
that.
after the fact. We didn't know before that.
You have a liens list, and that's how I was on that liens list. You could have mailed something out to those people on the liens list and notified them.
We get a liens list every year, and we exonerate that to Bucks County.
It becomes the county's responsibility.
And we didn't know there was a problem before that list was released to the county.
But when you knew there was a list, nothing was sent out, or nothing was
But we
notified.
don't
County
send
sent them every year.
The county sent the list.
Right.
I don't think people
did it.
realize
They
to
sent
what
notice.
extent and what the issue was. I can assure you, Stephanie and Barbara as soon as they found out we're on it, and Jen being in the county, we sort of had a leg up. I think now I hear your frustration, and I agree, it's a complete hardship.
For 6 months.
Absolutely, and it's not acceptable. But I don't know if there's anything communication-wise we can just put on, just to let people know if there is an issue or a concern, maybe where they can direct it, maybe Jen can take that.
Well, why don't I use this as an opportunity to make a public service announcement on what to do in case you feel like you've been liened incorrectly. So, like I said, you have a school bill, a school tax bill, you have a municipal county bill. If it's a school tax bill, you have to call the school district and show them your payment that you had paid. And once you do that, that information would go to the county, and the county would be able to take you off the lien list at that point. The county cannot take another municipality or school district's lien off without the permission of that taxing district. So if you have a school tax bill you feel was incorrectly liened, please contact the school district and let them know and show proof that you had paid, and they will contact the county. The same thing with the township. If there's a township tax that you feel was inappropriately liened, please call the township. The township will also need evidence that you had paid your taxes, and they would forward it to the county's tax claim department, and then they would give permission to remove that lien as well. So that's the order that you would want to do things in if you feel like you are liened incorrectly.
Is there any interest for, I mean, he's paying extra money, is there any interest or anything that goes back
Nope.
to, that's my other question, right?
You miss a payment, you get a 10% penalty.
Well, you don't pay the penalty if you can prove you paid it.
Right.
Penalty is remitted. You don't pay a penalty.
Right, but
Yes.
I don't get anything back. You guys just borrowed $3,900 from me, and I don't get anything back.
I don't want to. I
know it's not you guys.
It's not the township.
I know, but
Just to let you know.
you guys represent the township, right? The people of the township.
Right, but we wouldn't get that money. That's
I'm not
not
asking
the
for the money.
township's funds.
My main goal of here is to bring light of it, because unfortunately, there are probably people that are making duplicate payments and had to sacrifice something because of this unforeseen or false lien placed on their property.
Right. Well, I know that there were audits completed since your lien list and since you received that letter, and I could tell you that between the township and the county, a lot of work that I know you don't see it, and it's not really your concern what happens behind the scenes. You really shouldn't have been put in the position to begin with, but there has been a lot of work done.
And is the timeline, how's that timeline being done now? Is it taking 6 months for them to get their money back, or is it mainstream now that we know there's an issue?
I will tell you, you're the only person that has had this issue come to us.
That's scary, because apparently there was a lot of people with that issue, right?
Yeah.
That paid over a credit card that had.
We don't know.
We don't
have that
We
information.
don't have any records.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He
Scary.
represents Doylestown Township, but
Yeah.
it's a separate entity, which is why it's this gray space, unfortunately. Is there anything we should be doing, or?
Well, I mean, obviously, if we find after this is all said and done that extra costs were incurred, was a bond posted by the tax collector, and we'll be prepared to pursue his bond to make sure everybody's made whole.
Right.
Yeah, I think it should be posted on the website so people are brought to
Yeah,
what
I
to-
don't see any reason why we shouldn't get something up on the website,
Exactly.
given that it did affect people within Doylestown Township. I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
we can find a place to put the information that Jen just stated on the website. So.
And that bond, what's the timeline if you wanted to go towards that bond?
It has years to run yet, because you don't know exactly until this is all said and done with the final, you can recover auditing costs on the bond as well. So I don't know where that is, but somehow we got to get the handle on it. But the bond is not expired yet.
County.
Is there anything he, as a constituent, needs to know or should pursue?
Well, I don't know. I assume the mortgage company has been credited back the money, correct?
Yes.
So you're gonna find if your taxes are now overpaid,
Yeah, they'll
that
do
your
an
escrow will be reduced.
They'll do an escrow analysis, and they
Then
did
you'll
one,
get
and then
reductions.
I'll get paid my money, but for
You
6
won't get
months.
paid your money, you just credit for the next couple of escrows.
No, I'll get paid because
You'll
they
get paid
can't,
in cash, well, then-
they can't withhold a certain amount of escrow. I started doing my research on this, and.
No, you're right, depending
and-
upon the amount.
Right, so, again, that's just my frustration is for 6 months, I've been making an extra $444 a month for
Right.
something I didn't even do. And I hope you guys can use me as an example and maybe make it public to these people, because unfortunately there's people that are making duplicate payments and don't even know about it yet. And that's pretty scary for the people of Doylestown.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
O'Brien,
you.
for coming in. Thank you.
Sorry, yeah.
Any other public comment on agenda items? All right, we're next meeting on November 15th at 7 PM. We're going to be closed on November 8th for General Election Day, and we're going to be closed on November 11th for Veterans Day. Daylight savings time. Turn your clocks back an hour and replace your batteries on your smoke and CO2 detectors. Boards and commissions video presentations are on YouTube. Leaf and yard recycling, third Saturday of each month, 9 a.m. to 11, and the first and fourth Tuesdays of the month from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Drop-off site is New Britain entrance to Central Park. The Veterans Advisory Committee is hosting a Veterans Day event on November 11th at 10:30 a.m. at the Triangle Park. Doylestown Township Parks and Recreation have upcoming events. December 2nd, Jolly Jammy Jam with Mrs. Claus, 6 to 8 p.m. at the Community Meeting Room. December 10th, December Fest, which is with a Frosty 5K run, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And December Fest with a visit from Santa is 1 to 4 at Central Park, Pavilion Number 1. American Red Cross Activity Center is doing a blood drive on December 9th at from 2 to 7 p.m. And you can register at redcrossblood.org, and the sponsor code is Doylestown Township. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the budget work session, September 20th, 2022. Is there a motion to approve them?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Any corrections or changes? Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
One abstention.
Thank you. The board minutes.
Oh, no, I don't abstain from that, sorry.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay. 5-0. Okay, the regular minutes from the meeting of September 20th, 2022. Everyone had the opportunity to review them?
Yes.
The only thing I would say is that if there's no report from somebody, please indicate there's no report. I think that would be best for the minutes.
Okay.
Like the solicitor, no report, police chief, no report, township engineer, no. If they're on the agenda to report and there's no report, then that should be the designation. Okay, everyone okay with that? Okay, so there's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next is the budget work session minutes or notes from October 4th, 2022. There was one correction that Jen and I recognize on page 3. It indicates at the bottom in the last item, Ms. Herron suggested the bocce courts be put out to bid the same time. That was Barbara Lyons who made that recommendation. She did not want to have be blamed for that one, so.
Okay.
So there's that one correction. Is there any other corrections or changes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
One abstention.
One abstention. Very good. Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda, volunteer resignation from Ms. Delicott is leaving us tab board? No. Resignation, thank you.
Pension advisory and historic.
And the historical.
Yep. Is there a motion to accept his resignation?
I would like to make the
Resignations.
motion to accept his resignation.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to just say thank you to Mr. Delicott for all his work.
Reports from the solicitor?
If I may, the first item under my report is that the legislature and the governor adopted an Act 57 of 2022, the purpose of which is intended to make sure that if someone moves into a property and has not received their tax bill in a timely manner or at all, that they're not charged penalty and interest for that first year period. They don't get to do it every year, but if they do not get their tax bill, it means effectively that they're not going to be required to pay the penalty and interest. To do that, you need to adopt your resolution, which you have to do so it's effective for the next tax year, and you need to adopt it sometime before January. So I would recommend that the board adopt the resolution advising your tax collector to take under consideration and follow Act 57.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make a motion.
2446, thank you.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. It's 5-0. Okay, anything else, Solicitor? No?
Later on,
Township Engineer?
I have something to report later in the meeting.
Chief or Lieutenant? We read your memo.
You have?
Yep, we have it.
I have a short presentation.
Please.
That we'll go over.
Thank you.
And I feel it's important that I made the presentation to speak to it because it is an increase in cost from what we have been doing over the last several years. So I just kind of, with the memo, this is just the short, I guess, bullet points of the memo to provide more understanding as to what we're doing and why. Next slide, please. In 2013, the Township Police Department implemented the mobile video in-car camera in all their marked vehicles. We had 9 vehicles that were loaded with these cameras. It proved very well and beneficial for everything that we do. In 2015, we implemented the body-worn cameras, which are the cameras that actually clip to your chest and you take them wherever you go. It records everything that you do. At that time, the system to have was the WatchGuard system, which was the gold standard vendor at that point in time. Since then, they have been purchased by Motorola, and getting the parts that we need and the service that we have known is now diminishing. Next slide, please. Warranty concerns. The MVRs in the patrol cars no longer eligible for warranty as of 2022. The body-worn camera systems that we have are eligible for 1 final year of warranty at a cost of $4,200, but the service is not improved. Body-worn camera warranty claims have extended as much as 6 months. At one point, I had 4 body cameras that were down with 8 officers to 8 total cameras, so 50% of our supply was down for a period of 6 months. I almost had to change the policy so that certain officers did not have to carry cameras, which I felt was dangerous. Technical support to resolve the issues has diminished. We have a brand new police car that is sitting out there that needs a camera piece, and they don't know when they're going to send it to me. I had an MVR that I have been borrowing from other departments to load our system on there just to keep it moving. It's becoming increasingly difficult for us to keep moving forward like this. Next slide. So we've explored another body camera and mobile video camera vendor, which is LensLock. They are originally from California. They have been probably in the business for about 8 or 9 years now. They are now expanding down into Florida and trying to expand up here to the Northeast. Currently, if we were to replace our entire body-worn camera and MVR system with WatchGuard, we would be 9 mobile video cameras in for the 9 patrol cars, 8 body-worn cameras for the patrol officers. None of that equipment right now is eligible for any warranty. If you were to replace it, it is no longer an advanced replacement, so you would have to take your broken part, send it to Texas. Texas would then hold it until they receive the parts. They would rebuild your part and send it back to you. That is not what we had with WatchGuard when we first started. It was advanced replacement. You got it in 2 days and you sent the other one back and you were done. That is no longer in effect with WatchGuard. LensLock, we have currently 14 patrol vehicles in our fleet. LensLock will provide all 14 vehicles, including my vehicle and the chief's vehicle, with a mobile video camera system. All officers, we have 21 officers normally. They will send us 24 cameras. That will give us 3 in reserve. All equipment will be replaced every 30 months. This is part of the contract, and as long as we remain in contract with them, every 30 months, all new body cameras, all 24 of them will be replaced, all charging stations will be replaced, and all the hardware out of the mobile video in-car cameras, all 14 of them, will be replaced. They can have complete implementation. If we were called, as an example, to call them today, within 45 days, we will have all new equipment installed in each of the cars and in our system in the station. Next slide, please. So the financial comparison here is, right now, I did price it out to replace our system with WatchGuard with what we currently have and with LensLock. There's 9 systems currently, 8 body-worn cameras. We need to upgrade to a cloud server, so it's a little more secure. It would be a cost of $30,063 up front, with $27,276 remaining for the next 4 years on the contract. LensLock is going to give us 14 MVR systems, 24 body-worn camera systems, upgrade to the cloud server, which in their cloud server and their software, it includes video redaction equipment free of charge. It is $29,018.40 each year, and that cost is locked from now until we are no longer in contract with them. So if we are in contract with them for 10 or 15 years, that price will never change. Next slide. LensLock is currently completing their CoStars process. We expect to have them completing that process by the end of December. The chief and I have been in close contact with them, and they're moving forward pretty quick. On October 13th, I completed the local law enforcement grant application, and there's the application number there. And I did use LensLock's numbers for that. So we'll see whenever that determination is. I believe the PCCD board meets in the end of October. Several other police agencies in Central Bucks are also transitioning to LensLock. Central Bucks Police Department currently has them now. New Britain Township is currently in a pilot program with them, and Plumstead is in the same, process of the phase that we are. If we are able to switch to this will allow the agencies that work closely with us every day to have the same equipment. And if there is a problem with one equipment, it just provides a bigger network for us to be able to use equipment to get us through if something happens, or just to learning the system as it is. We'll have 4 other departments that will be using the same system and can kind of get us moving and get the wheels turning so that we don't lose any footage in the future. And I think that's it. So for what we're asking for here is, because of the pricing that we have been given by LensLock, and because of the amount of equipment that we're getting, we're looking to move forward to enter into a 5-year agreement with them so we can get this moving before the price changes. But again, this is a $19,000 increase for that line item that's in our budget, because our budget line item currently is $10,000 because I didn't have any money to do the warranty. They wouldn't warranty our equipment anymore. So we have a $10,000 budget right now that I've been using to pay for WatchGuard as we move forward. So this would be the same line item, where we just have to add the $10,000 to it to be able to transition to LensLock.
Everybody understand that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Any questions?
I just want to thank you for your dedication and commitment to making sure we have cameras as often as possible. And I understand the difficulty that you guys are facing right now. I think it's very important, obviously you guys know how the police are under scrutiny, to have these for accountability for ourselves and protection, that we're doing the right things. So it's very much appreciated, the work you've done, and not just for the contract going forward, but what you've been trying to do keeping it up.
Thank you.
I had a question. When we initially got our cameras, was that part of a grant? I believe we got them as part of a grant.
I am not sure. I was not part of that original purchase.
Okay.
No.
Do you know if there's any grant opportunities for these?
I have filled out the grant for the local law enforcement.
Oh, that's right.
Grant.
That's right, yes.
But I won't hear from that until probably the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion.
I'll
to
second
move
that.
forward
Yeah.
With LensLock.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any other questions, concerns? Calling the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, next item on the agenda, Director of Operations.
I'm
Got
gonna
the
have,
biggest part of the agenda there, Dave.
Yeah, we're going to move quickly. Quicker than
Okay.
the Lieutenant, I hope. The road program, Part 2, change order number 1. I'm going to ask Mr. Torpy to speak to this, please.
The road program part 2 is currently underway. We have discovered a couple areas where we could do some additional surfacing and some additional intersection line striping. So we have a change order to the existing contract of $31,602.50 that we would like to award as the project continues to move forward and get those additional areas that were not part of the original contract.
Asking for the board's approval for change order number 2, or number 1.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor of the change order to part 2, change order number 1, part 2 of the roads program? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Okay, next item is our annual road rental of snow equipment with operator for 2022-2023 for that year. We had 5 contractors submit bids for this year. 3 of the contractors are returning contractors, and we have 2 new ones. So what I'm going to do is just read through the contractors, the number of
You
vehicles.
can just identify it being on the agenda instead of reading through all 5 of them.
Yeah, they're on the agenda.
They're on the agenda, and the board is.
Board can just, if they're
Rates.
intending, move to approve the selection of those vendors with the prices noted.
That'd be fine with me.
I'll make the motion to approve the vendors with the prices noted.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have the recommendation for the award of the Swamp and Eastern Road traffic signal contract. The bids were put out. Armor & Sons Electric is the low bidder. I'm asking the board's approval to approve the base bid plus 3 alternates. The total for that bid is $454,085. I just want to make a note that this is a grant, and we're over budget on the grant. I noted in my memo that we're over by $120,000. We did account for $100,000 in '23 as part of the budgeting process, but we need another $21,000, $22,000 to finish the project. It is 100% reimbursable up to the total of the grant amount, so we'll get back $380,817. Okay, so I'm asking for the board's approval to award the contract to Armor, base bid plus 3 alternates.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. It's 5-0. Sodium
next-
chloride?
Item is just acknowledgement that we are going to participate in we did acknowledge, or you did this before, that we were going to participate in the sodium chloride purchase through CoStars for 22 and 23. The contract for this year for Cargill was extended by PennDOT, and that is at a cost of $62.31 per ton. Just need the board's acknowledgement that we're going to purchase road salt through Cargill Incorporated for 22 and 23.
Do you need an acknowledgement? We don't need a motion?
Just an acknowledgement. There's no.
I acknowledge.
I second the acknowledgement.
Okay.
We acknowledge.
Duly acknowledged.
Great, thank you very much. Next item is the purchase of artificial grass for the dog park. As you all know, you approved equipment to be purchased for the dog park out of the dog park funds. That purchase included artificial grass around the play pieces for the dogs. They underestimated the cost. They also had they got new proposals from a company called Forever Lawn of South Jersey. I have 2 quotes with my memo. The first quote is for all the play equipment. They've also requesting that the second quote be approved for the installation of canine grass, was what they call it, around the entrances to each area. Okay, so the total for the project, which will be paid for by the dog park, is $24,300. Just need the board's approval of those quotations.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Okay.
And the last one is piggybacks off of the MKSD's presentation, one being the solar piece and one being an addition to their scope of work. So this is a change order to MKSD's scope of work. I'm calling it change order number 4. Their proposal included part A was the structural design for the Public Works building. Since we're not doing the solar, we're going to strike that item. The recommendation is that we approve part B, which is the electrical design for the site lighting that's tied in from the building side to the court side. That is $11,555. I'm asking for the board's approval for their change in scope.
What's the amount? $11,550?
$11,550.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And
So-
just as a note, I did, as requested by Mr. Wood, you did receive a cost summary with that memo on the current expenditures approved and spending for the building.
Yes,
We'll continue to update that, so just,
that was good, thank you.
if there's any questions,
Thank you,
please let
Dave.
us know.
Yeah, you heard, we're going to build out the building to be able to accept
Yeah, I agree with that.
solar
It's a
at
good,
some point.
it's a good, that's the right way thing to do right now.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so we'll be looking for those estimates I said in the future, the costs on that. Are you done?
Yep.
Yes, you are. Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is a training request for our Lisa Purcell in Parks and Rec. Everyone see the memo?
Yep.
Is there a motion to approve the
I'll
request?
make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Jeff, you're on for new business.
Actually, you got to go back to your reports of your colleagues.
Oh, yeah, I do that all the time. Sorry, supervisors. Nancy?
I just wanted to thank the staff for all of their work on the budget process. I know it's been pretty strenuous this year, and thank everybody here for that. That's it.
Jen?
Nothing to report.
Ryan?
Nothing tonight.
For me, my committee's already presented this evening for bike and hike and sewer, which was great. I do have one piece I'd like to share with the community. Last weekend, it was brought to my attention that the Pebble Woods area woke up one morning to find several flyers distributed in their driveways advocating white supremacy. This is straightforward white supremacy. This isn't like we're going to argue this. Well, it's political. No, this was calling for the white man to stand up kind of stuff. And I want to bring this up because several residents reached out to me, how it was done. I don't know if the person distributing it was in the township or from the area. It was distributed in other areas of Bucks County. This has happened in other places across the country. My sister in Florida had this happen last year. They put the flyer in a bag of gravel, throw it out onto the driveway, and they keep driving. It's a similar technique that some landscapers use with much less offensive material in it. So there's nothing inherently illegal about it, although I think most of us would agree that this is disgusting rhetoric we don't want to see in the township. I informed our staff here and our police department about it. Even if it's not illegal, we are aware of it. And I just want to pass along this information. I was told if you see something like this happen elsewhere in the township, to, of course, contact us, either the supervisors, the township managers, or the police. But in addition, reach out to groups like NAACP Bucks, ACLU PA, the Office of Civil Rights, which is a subdivision of the Department of Education, Southern Poverty Law Center, the Anti-Defamation League. The FBI has reporting for hate crimes. And the Peace Center here in Bucks County is also a resource. They've all been notified of this current one, but I'm just letting residents know. Hopefully it does not happen again, but if it does, I wanted to share this information with everyone.
Dan, where was this? What neighborhood?
The neighborhood in question was the Pebble Woods area.
Okay.
And I was told, I saw some other people on social media say this was my neighborhood too, but I'm not sure where their neighborhood was. I know Plumstead and Middletown were two other areas in Bucks County.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'd like to actually thank Supervisor Wood for alerting us of this. That after he had alerted us, I drove through the neighborhood and I found several bags with those flyers in them outside people's driveway. And it's disgusting. It has no place here. And I hope if anybody ends up getting that type of documentation that they do reach out.
No place anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry to those residents. The only thing I want to say is that we've been dancing around this capital fundraising committee, and next meeting, I'd like to have, toss around the ideas of forming the committee, what that committee would look like, how many from the township, how many from Central Bucks, that sort of thing. So I'm not going to do it now, but I think we should have that conversation at the next meeting, okay? Put it on as an agenda item. All right?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's all. Give everybody an opportunity to think about it. Okay, new business.
If I may, you recall that the board agreed to waive land development for the improvements at the Barn Plaza Shopping Center so as to facilitate bringing Whole Foods to the township. And I prepared the appropriate waiver of land development agreement, would request the board approve that so that that's taken care of before the project begins.
Everyone had an opportunity to review this document? Any questions or concerns? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. It's 5-0. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay, all right, changing over. The TASA grant, Shady Retreat Road resolution. So we have to authorize Stephanie to sign.
That is correct. Once we have the authorization, then they will generate a contract for us, an agreement, and then I'll be able to share the agreement itself.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve the resolution 2447, authorizing the manager to sign the application?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. It's 5-0. And then the DCNR grant, same question for resolution 2448, authorizing the manager to execute the application with an electronic signatory.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks. Treasurer's report from October 18th, 2022.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And finally, the bills list for October 18th, 2022.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, just a few reiteration of the announcements. We're next meeting on November 15th at 7 p.m. We're closed on Tuesday, November 8th for Election Day and Friday, November 11th for Veterans Day. Daylight savings time is Sunday, November 6th. Change your batteries and all your detectors. And I think we'll just dispense with the rest, except let's give a gift of life to American Red Cross on December 9th, 2 to 7 at the Red Trailer. And use sponsorship Doylestown Township when you sign up at redcross.org. Any other business?
You have public comment on the agenda.
Is there public comment on non-agenda items?
It's a good one. I want to thank the township engineers. The road pavers showed up in my neighborhood this week, and the first impression of the work that they are doing is it is simply outstanding. They cleaned everything off. They made sure the roads were ready. The road in front of my house, they got half of it done today. They promised me that they would be back tomorrow to finish it. It's extremely well done. Your team's doing a great job. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, thank you.
Happy birthday, Jeff Garten.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Cake, everybody, and whatever.
Happy birthday. Thank you, everyone. We're adjourned.